Peggy 16.
An expedition of bioengineers found themselves trapped on an untamed planet when the Star Union collapsed. In order to survive, the terraformers resorted to their own experimental genetic alterations. Now, generations later, they have resurfaced as the Amazons, an all-female species who have grown to master and exploit their surroundings. With the re-emergence of interstellar travel, the Amazons have detected new threats to their symbiosis and have mobilized to fight those enemies with their highly mobile and stealthy forces, accompanied by genetically engineered alien life forms who carry out their will. Amazons thrive in forested sectors and can use the rapid reforestation technique to spread forest sectors and revitalize wastelands through terraforming. Amazons move fast through such terrain, which most other enemies and factions do not. They can also overgrow enemy colonies to reduce their food income by using entangling overgrowth. Their mastery of nature allows them to expand their colonies quickly, using doctrines like progressive cultivation and ecological construction to get extra food and extra production, respectively, or selective breeding to produce cheaper animal and mounted units. This growth can also be used to harm their enemies. Introduced predators will spawn a nest of genetically modified beasts in target sectors. In combat, the Amazons make use of field pylons, immobile structures that can heal, buff, or call wildlife to come battle their enemies. They have a wide variety of units based on their mastery of nature, like the Huntress, a camouflaged unit with an energy bow equipped with 2 different arrowheads for more versatility on the battlefield. The Shrike, an alien bird that acts as a scout with a laser repeater cannon to keep other aerial units at bay. The Arborean Sentinel, a genetically constructed plant-like creature that can entangle enemies. The Biomancer, capable of scanning life forms for weaknesses. The Pteranodon, a massive alien monster with a roar terrifying enough to cause panic. Plus, the Amazons put lasers on its head. So there's that. With the void storm subsiding and once again making interstellar travel possible, the biotech goddesses of the Amazon have set out to the blasted worlds of the Star Union to establish new natural paradises. Try not to get in their way. Vanguard originate from the expeditionary forces and colonists sent out to claim new worlds beyond the frontier of the Star Union. As they arrived at their destination and awoke from their cryosleep, they discover a galactic cataclysm has taken place during their long journey, and the Star Union has collapsed and is no more. Now the Vanguard need to utilize all their combat and survival skills for the showdown with the unknown forces that brought down their empire and re-establish the Star Union. As the Empire's expeditionary force, the Vanguard are kitted out for the creation of bridgeheads on distant planets. These same skills are ideal for resettling the worlds of a collapsed empire. To do this, the Vanguard have units and colonists strong enough to be able to fend for themselves. They also have frontier policies that can provide extra food, and they can use their garrisons to boost production in their colonies. The Vanguard might seem like a specialized offensive military faction, but they also have diplomatic tools at their disposal. For example, one of their doctrines, called Hearts and Minds, increases rewards and influence when performing quests for native populations, while the doctrine Big Stick Diplomacy allows the Vanguard to leverage their military might in diplomatic interactions. Both make sure that the Vanguard can make their presence known on each planet they want to claim for the Star Union. The Vanguard represent the all-round military force of the future, ranging from troopers carrying assault rifles and grenades to heavy laser tanks and walkers carrying missile artillery, with gunships providing close air support. On the field, the Vanguard has a wide variety of ranged options available to them. They can set up firing lines and overwatch zones to encourage the enemy to come to them. Or use fast units like the Valkyries and the assault bikes, with which they can outflank enemies. They can even call in a drop pod to deploy troops behind enemy lines. The Vanguard also use drones and robots, like their Owl Scout, that can target paint enemies so that those enemies are easier to hit. Or send out the cute PUG, the Robo-Dog, that can heal, rearm, and smokescreen other units. With their awesome arsenal, hardened frontier spirit, and no-nonsense approach, the Vanguard have a fighting chance of restoring the Star Union to greatness. The collapse of the Star Union broke the chains of the enthralled Kirko, and the former slaves now swarm free. Destroying their way of life and breaking their hive mind did not break the will of the Kirko. Once the Star Union fell, the Kirko quickly rose to power on several worlds through hyper-evolution and pillaging their fallen masters' technology. The Kirko's hives grow quickly, allowing them to rapidly colonize new planets. Their units regenerate health quickly and develop mutations like cloaking carapace armor that can conceal them on the world map. To protect their territory, they can use Call of the Hive to spawn extra troops when they are threatened, and Noxious Bombardment to poison their enemies on the world map. They can also spawn emergent larvae, which, should those larvae survive, will morph into stronger Kirko units. This, coupled with the fact that the Kirko have strong regenerative powers, can turn them into either a threat or a valuable ally on any contested world in the galaxy. The Kirko have a choice to make: retribution or reconciliation. Will they forgive the past transgressions of the other factions, or deliver violent justice to even the scales? Both options are available in the tech tree, and both offer powerful benefits depending on the choice of playstyle. In combat, the Kirko favor melee and units that operate in groups, as they get a defensive bonus when units are positioned adjacent to each other, called Swarm Shield. This ability helps their melee units take less damage when charging forward into ranged attacks. The Swarm Shield can be strengthened by going down the Kirko's bio-themed research tree. The Kirko field units, such as the Frenzied, a mainstay of the swarm that can not only rip enemies to pieces with their claws, but can also utilize its area of effectability, Battle Vomit, that fills an area with corrosive acid. The Ravenous, a huge melee unit that can devour humanoid enemies and then hatch new Kirko larvae on the battlefield. The Tormented. Some Kirko still suffer from being ripped from the hive mind, but the Tormented turn this pain into a weapon by projecting their hatred into their enemies, breaking their minds with psionic attacks. The Unleashed supports the Hive as a low-flying scout, while the Abyssian can tunnel unnoticed across the battlefield and encase the enemy in wax cement. With a sense of lost unity from their shattered hive mind, the Kirko now have to decide alone what future to pursue. They can unleash their pain to ensure the other factions suffer as greatly as they have, or they can seek to reconcile with the other inhabitants of a new world and work together to rebuild. The Dvar evolved to survive and profit. Being stranded on a barely habitable planet when the Star Union fell left the Dvar with only one choice: to dig in and develop new technology that would allow them to withstand the harsh environment. They built vast processing complexes to tear nature apart and exploit every resource they could get their hands on. Once they land on a planet, the Dvar deploy a vast array of heavy industrial machinery to allow them to quickly extract anything of value from the environment. Their scout, the Prospector, can be set to scavenge distant wilderness sectors, collecting energy and other raw materials to help develop the fledgling colonies. As the Dvar become settled, they can even shatter mountains, giving more space to their colonies. And for those unfortunate enough to enter a war against the Dvar, a tectonic shift can be triggered, spawning a mountain range in the middle of their territory, causing massive destruction. With their strong industrial focus, the Dvar can rapidly upgrade their colonies and produce new units. When it comes to combat, the Dvar favor explosive weapons, a tech group that is exclusive to them. Their technological know-how has helped them develop smart weapons that avoid friendly fire, which is useful considering explosive weapons tend to have a large area of effect. The survival suit that gave the faction its name, the DVR, can be equipped with several unit mods, such as super-powered pistons that increase melee attack power, and the reactive kinetic battery, which absorbs energy from incoming attacks and blasts it back out against enemies. Amongst the Dvar's combat units you'll find the rocket artillery, which sends a devastating volley of rockets in a large area of effect. Several heavily armored vehicles that will plow right into enemy units in order to damage them. The Sapper, which can tunnel towards an enemy and trigger a seismic charge which staggers nearby units, while at the same time destroying any obstacles they were using as cover. The Trencher, a unit that can build its own cover on the battlefield. And the Earth Crusher, a massive industrial complex on wheels. It can pull enemy units towards it with a tractor beam and then process them using ore-crushing machinery. Now that space travel is once again available for the Dvar, they are ready to start operations on other profitable worlds. Heaven help anyone else caught in the path of their march of progress.